Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Make a quick video about whatever comes to mind. I don't think it'll be that long, so I do feel like talking basketball, but I wanted to give you guys a therapy session. Say Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Tried to contact most of the mothers that I know before I left the house. I got a bad habit of leaving the house at 2 o'clock, which could work against me tomorrow when I have to do a real actual therapy session tomorrow. It finally get a chance to see my therapist for the first time in a month it's been since she went out of town. So that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I cannot keep this routine of leaving the house at 2 if I want to do what I'm supposed to do in regards to that. So that's really what it is. Forcing myself to get out the house, get some exercise, grab some oatmeal, stuff like that. I could go to the local Target, but decided to make my normal routine to get some real walking in since I decided not to leave the house yesterday. Why I didn't leave the house yesterday, I honestly don't remember. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I've drawn a complete blank on yesterday. But whatever the case was, I didn't get a chance to do too much walking around, didn't really do anything. So I stayed in, did art. What the hell did I do yesterday? I don't remember. I think it was a science to why I didn't leave the house. Oh, I know exactly what I was doing yesterday. Let me get back to it. Which can lead me into the conversation I guess I can have here. Is celebrating the block out on Instagram. I woke up like I normally did yesterday and then saw that they were having something called a block out, where they were blocking a bunch of celebrities who haven't been speaking up on Gaza. And I've been telling y'all for the last 215, 16 days, whoever follows me, if you're a celebrity, we've been mentioning how we've been a little frustrated with y'all not talking. Well, I got to blocking. And about 450 people I blocked yesterday. That's what I was doing. I was sitting there on Instagram blocking the hell out of people. People I don't follow, people I do follow, I don't care. Only 2 celebrities that were on that block list I don't think I actually blocked. One of them was 50 Cent, because I really enjoy watching his posts. I just said, you know what, I'm not going to block 50 even though he's on this list. And LeBron James, the king, made it through. Everybody else, man, I blocked everybody. I didn't block Snoop Dogg, man. I blocked everybody, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's not about us not liking these people. It's about the people behind them continuing to make them silent by way of their affiliations with the Zionist movement, or however that goes. And it was so much. And see, when we talk about the people behind the curtain and the people who control the industry and all that, what this has done is allowed a lot of those individuals to show their power behind the scenes, in a sense that you could tell who's afraid to offend these people by their silence and complicit, being against talking up on this thing, because they don't want to offend these higher ups who could mess with their contracts, mess with their overall careers. So what this has also done is allow us to see some of those people, because as I figured and predicted, we were going to start finding out who is behind these people and who these Zionists are that they're afraid to offend. And a lot of those are the individuals, and I was able to lay eyes on some of their pictures and hear them, see who's been doing homework on who's behind these celebrities that are silent. Your favorite celebrity ain't speaking up not because they don't care about children. It's because they don't want to offend these higher ups. And now we're starting to find out who those folks are, and I'm very excited about laying eyes on all these Zionists. And it's usually most of the stuff that's pop music, rap music, some of the poisonous music that we say is no good for us, some of the, just like I was saying, smearing the black people's image by way of some of these celebrities that push the worst crap on us. This is exactly what I thought it was. You start seeing who these people are behind them. Zionists. That's who's behind them. Jewish Zionists, just like we thought. It was the worst thing in the world 4 or 5 years ago for us to say Jews run Hollywood, only to find out that they run Hollywood. It's what it is. We always understood it, but now we're actually starting to dig into who these people are. And just like I said, when this October 7th situation started happening, when it first started happening, and you saw all these people coming to the aid of Israel but not saying nothing about Palestine, I knew that was going to bite them in the behind. And now you're seeing people go back and find out who was all supporting that crap and who was doing all of that, and they're putting them on this block list. So, you know what I mean? I don't mind people who were ignorant having, at the time, not knowing what was going on, saying, solidarity on both sides. I said that before I learned what was going on. I had never heard of a 75-year occupation. And I'm willing to bet a lot of people, some celebrities, don't know a damn thing about what's going on in Palestine. All they know is they got a bunch of friends who are Israeli who are smiling faces. And that's what I was praying about yesterday in the shower too. It's like, God, a lot of these people that are behind this stuff, they don't have venomous face. They don't have villainous faces. We've been trained to look at these people as nice, wholesome, kind individuals who just so happen to have colonial ideals that they will stick by to no end. And they will be kind in their comfortable Zionist mindsets so long as you don't cross over and disrespect those mindsets. Then you're disrupting their happiness. So I could totally see how they have the minds of people who actually know them. Because when I look at pictures of these people, I'm like, oh, that looks like a nice guy. Oh, that looks like a nice guy. Oh, I know somebody looks like that. They're all really nice. That's because they've painted the picture of who's around us in this world. Not them specifically necessarily, although I'm not saying they're not, because they may be in control of such things. But the point is, over the years, we have ideas of who a nice image, safe image is versus who's a villainous image is somebody that you need to be wary of. It's like they've taught us who to trust and who not to based on faces and colors and different things that just don't actually tell the story of who's around us. So when you look at all these really kind, smiling Jewish faces and you realize that they could give two craps about kids dying and the genocide and all of that, and the only thing they can think about is themselves when they start talking about what needs to happen in the situation. And they start thinking about, well, you killed one of mine, so I get to kill 3,000 of yours. And they have these smiling faces with these soft tones and these wonderful looks on their face. It's like, yo, these people are awful. These are the same people that look at me rude when I walk into certain stores. Like, they don't want you around, black person, unless you're making money for them and have aligned with what it is that they say is cool. And the moment you buck that, suddenly you're as bad as a person. It's if you've been painted out to be in the movies. And it's like, yo, this is why all of this needs to flip on its axis. I don't need to be thinking of these people as nice people just because they have faces that look Jewish and they smile. And, you know what I'm saying? They're clean. They have money. That is not at all a reflection of anything substantial as it pertains to a person's character and what it is they will stand up for. I'm a blackface. You look at me, and through the same lens, you may say, well, that's a gang member, or that's somebody who robbed a couple people, or that's a dude who did a bid at once upon. What hood is he from? Like, and then I look at a Jewish person, and the first thing I'm thinking is, oh, they probably have a wonderful job. They have a really kind. I can walk around their neighborhood and feel safe. I'm the most threatening thing in their neighborhood, and yet, as we're looking at what they're picking apart, you realize that they agree with colonial ideals that essentially murder 40,000 people over the last 3 months. And will give every kind word excuse for why that should be allowed. And I realize real violence is connected to those individuals. And they look at me as if I'm a bad guy when no real violence is connected to anything I believe in at all. I don't want to fund violence. I don't kill nobody on the street. I'm not doing none of that stuff. But because you look at a picture of me and look at a picture of them and have certain ideals about who looks like what and who does what, you're going to have certain ideas about who you're safe around. And that is controlled and has been controlled in this country and in the Western world for centuries. And manipulated into the minds of everyone to where I'll look at somebody that looks like me and feel a little tense as opposed to thinking it's a nice, non-threatening person. And I'll look at somebody like them and say, that looks like a nice guy. That looks like a nice guy. White equals clean. Black equals dark and dirty. And it's these type of things that this situation has pulled the rug up from under and ultimately showed us that a lot of times the very people that we think are the nicest, safest people to be around are really sending their money in situations that kill children. That are really turning a blind eye to systematic oppression and racism. And some of the worst things that are happening in this world are because they're enabling it by, if nothing else, just staying complicit while they allow other people who have the power they have to do these things. And then they will vilify anybody who tries to bring light to that hypocrisy. That they will even put their own children in prison for protesting against those values, which are selective in regards to who is a human being and who should be allowed to die. Some of the kindest, nicest faces are literally the reason why so much suffering is taking place on this earth. Why so much venom comes out of the speakers of the music that we listen to into our eardrums, because they find the worst human beings they can find, the most shallow frequencies, to embed our head and reinforce these same ideals. That I'm a bad guy, that my sister is a bad girl, however you want to put it, promiscuous in nature, and their daughters are Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm just being honest with you. The whole get down is foul. It lies. It reeks of hypocrisy. It reeks of misdirection and projection of realities that others ultimately want to place upon people that like myself. When we're not, if we're even aware of what's going on, we're certainly not in control of it. And if we could influence it, it wouldn't go down the way that they're allowing it to. And as a result, it would be so many less people suffering in this earth. If people who look like me were in charge of what they're in charge of. It's just the truth. It's proven. And the only reason why we're not, and when I say we, I mean people who look like me and from my culture are not overly enthralled in what's going on, is because we've had this placed upon our heads. This idea that we're not supposed to be focused on anything but the worst stuff possibly around us. And I'm sick of it. I'm telling all of you guys, I'm sick of it. And I've seen enough good black people and good Jewish people to know that none of this is perfect science. But it's time to start peeling back the layers of who we call people behind the curtain, to now formally understanding them to be known as venomous Zionists. It is not okay to be a Zionist, because what you're saying in doing so is essentially that some people deserve to be okay in life and others don't, so that you and those you deem okay can be okay in life. All of us need to work together, free of our preconceived notions and views about who is and who isn't, that has probably been skewed by a generation who's done this, reinforced this over the last several hundred years. Generations of people who've told us to believe that this is not only what it is, but needs to be continued to be reinforced. When you do away with all that racism, all of that bigotry, all of those lies about colors and how they equate to what it is that we should feel, all of that stuff is psychological terrorism upon our minds. And start looking at people for the character that they display. Some of those same nice looking faces are people who stand up for Palestine, who genuinely want to see people succeed, genuinely want to see children stop dying and all of that. Some of those same Jewish looking faces, they love people and deserve to be seen for the goodness that the image ultimately puts in front of them before they even open their mouths. But a lot of them, they could give two shits about a kid in Palestine dying in front of their mother, but will tell themselves that they're good people, tell themselves that they celebrate Mother's Day, when the only mothers they celebrate are the mothers that they have within the bubble of what it is that they'll accept, while the rest of human beings are discardable at best in their minds. I'm sick of y'all, every last one of y'all, who continue to live as if this is fine just because you are able to benefit or live comfortably within the confines of selective humanity. You guys are devils, regardless of how clean your smiles are, how pure skin you have, whatever position you think you have in this world of intelligence based on the bullshit you've been able to read over the last 15, 16 years and study. All of that stuff doesn't take away from the fact that you are a horrible human being trying to make the worst out of people that look just like you by feeding them the same bullshit that you have been fed. That's exactly what I think. If you don't feel nothing when other people are suffering, then you fall into this category. If you're fine with being silent or encouraging others to be silent in the presence of this genocide, and you have every understanding of what's going on and what has been going on for the last 75 years, but you don't want to disrupt your happy little home or whatever the functionality of what it is that you most appreciate, so that others can survive this, you fall into the category of the human beings I'm talking about. You're an awful human being. Michael Rappaport, people like that, they only care about their own people, bro. They only care about the hostages. Not even including the thousands and thousands of hostages that Palestinians have had taken from them by this occupation alone. 75 years. Not since October 7th. 75 years. So anybody who was supporting that, who understood that to be what it was, is complicit in what it is that I'm accusing y'all of. You're awful human beings, man. Awful. And that's why I don't like what I'm seeing in regards to those who have understood this. Well, my friends are Jewish and we love Israel. My friends are Zionists and they're great people and they've given me so much money and they let my dreams come true. And if I turn against them, not only can I be a betrayer, but I'm also in a space where they can take everything from me from here. I don't want to lose those friends. I've known those people for years. People like Pharrell Williams. All of my friends are Zionists. Of course I'm going to support you. You're an asshole. Because people are dying. Okay? People are dying because of your need to keep kind but horrible friends. That's right. That's exactly what I said. And that's what I mean. Each and every one of you celebrities who have this type of relationship with Zionist individuals, and they've been so kind to you, they let you in their homes. They've shaken your hands. They've given you riches. And you don't want to turn on them because you're a loyal person. Do understand that you're turning on people who would do the same thing for you if they had the position to do so. You're turning on people who would do the same thing for you if they weren't systematically oppressed from having those opportunities to do those things for you. And nor would they oppress those who are doing for you what it is you appreciate. They wouldn't do them like they are doing them. They wouldn't turn the tables around if they were in that position. It's always those who can eat others on the way to the top that usually step on the backs of others and keep them down. They wouldn't treat you the same way that you treat us. We never would. That's the part that screws me up. It's like, do you know who you're screwing over while you're trying to keep these selective humanity pushing friends? You're screwing over people who would never select you out of their humanity. They would never do that to you. So when you're trying to be loyal to the people who don't give a shit about them, do understand what it is that you're actually doing. You're turning on good people so that you can keep bad friends who happen to be very kind and very wealthy. Important because they've cheated their way to the top by doing this to people. Beyonce's and all of y'all, man, y'all need to understand who you're being loyal to. You need to understand what it is you're here. You're to fear. You're fearing people who would do horrible things to other people. And would never do those things to you because you enable them to do that by being as talented as you are, under contract with them, within the confines of a government that doesn't give a shit about anyone but them. That's what I want to tell all of you. They benefit from a rigged system. They're only as intelligent as they are is because they've been fed the information that they've suppressed from everyone else. That's it. They're not smarter. They just got the skin to win. They got the money that allows them to pay for the best education that'll lead them up toward being able to get into the Ivy Leagues. Your ass can't even get into the Ivy Leagues. And they're going to impress everything upon your minds leading up through those same years that will keep you away from the books entirely. They want you to be as stupid as humanly possible so that you can never, ever be a competitor to them. And you're trying to tell me that we need to be loyal to them? For what? They've been suppressing people for years. As soon as you got out of them chains, they were figuring out other ways to wrap them chains around your mind. And that's who you want to continue to relay power to going forward? That's who you want to continue to keep feeling rich and wealthy and powerful? They're all a part of the problem. Some of the most talented people in the world are the biggest problem because they continue with their talent to keep these people wealthy and relevant. So now that the curtain's being pulled from behind what it is that we've been looking at, now we see who's behind. It's like, yo, these are just a bunch of regular people with smiling faces that didn't mean nobody no good but each other. They stole that land. Palestine was what it was. I don't give a damn how many times they lied to you about what it was and what changing the name, the definitions of words like indigenous and anti-Semitism. These words still mean what they mean. You could switch the definition up to mean something completely opposite if you like. It's not going to change what it is that it defines when people use it right. Israel doesn't have a right. It stole that. It stole the land. There were people who had everything in place in the 30s in Palestine. Real Palestinian individuals. They weren't living in huts. They had universities and hospitals and restaurants. They owned businesses. These are not third world country people. They had huge conglomerates come in and destroy what they had. That is why they were able to build what they have, because they were able to tear down what was already there, just like a colonizer going to do. They didn't come in and save some third world country that couldn't fend for itself. These people were sophisticated. They had what they had, and it was taken from them by these same people that you want to be loyal to, these same people that we need to adhere to, these same people that want to turn the definitions of words around so that wrong can mean right and right can mean wrong. These are the worst people to have ever walked the earth that you're being loyal to. And it is proven in real time when we continue to see the people that they discard of in our phones in real time. Being murdered, forced to live in impossible situations through impossible pain. If they're able to live and survive it at all. While they sit up in their comfortable homes, their comfortable lives with their degrees and all these different things that they've cheated their way to. Generational wealth that they never earned, that they got on the backs of slaves and they got off the back of other people that look just like them who didn't have anything, that they worked to death. That is who they are. Not more intelligence, they just had access and privilege. And a bunch of agreeable people who didn't turn that on its axis. That's all that was. Time has come for us to wake up, call it for what it is, and take back what belongs to us, regardless of who's upset about it, regardless of who has a smiling face, regardless of the misdirection of what our image actually is in the eyes of all of us. All of us together who believe in humanitarian behavior as a compass for the direction that we want this world to spin. We need to take this back from them. Whether you have a face that is acceptable or you look like a thug like me, we need to come together and take this world back from these evil Zionist bastards who want to lie to everyone about their intentions and lie to each other about how much they should trust one another. Which is the real truth there. People who allow the worst individuals to reincorporate themselves back into our society just because they kill for them. Sell our entire country down the road for a colonized space that is about as big as California. Enough of the hypocrisy, man. Enough of them doing away with human lives like this, bro. Enough. If I can block a few celebrities to make people understand that we are not going to stand by idly and allow them to continue to control occupied land in the Middle East, thus making them look at the hypocrisy of the behavior that is taking place in this land here, which is also occupied for the last 500 years, then that is exactly what I'm here to do. I do not care how crazy I look to the people around me. I do not care who gets angry at what it is I'm talking about. I don't care how many of the norms that we used to, I challenge with this intention. Because I understand that even the best things that I've been able to enjoy have them behind it funneling all of the profit off of those things that I've paid into this horrible system that allows for children to suffer the ills of bombs as if they're armies coming against them. This is evil incarnate. And I don't give a shit how many smiling faces and wonderful, intelligent looking human beings co-sign this evil. It is evil incarnate, and it discards of human beings that can genuinely help all of us. Genuinely be the best doctors, teachers, artists. They do away with all of that because of skin color. It's a science that doesn't even make any sense anymore based on what it is that we're looking at. They're discarding of people who could help the world. And we continue to pay into all of their businesses. It doesn't make any sense. We continue to pay into their wealth as they continue to show us that they could give two hells about any of us. They don't even care enough about their own kids to listen to their own concerns about the system itself. They discarded him too. And you want me to give a damn about Jerry Seinfeld because he's been in my face for the last 30 years? I don't give a damn about him or his wife. If they're going to continue to relay that nonsense, then they're just as bad as the people who are shooting these guns off and paying into this nonsense. It is what it is. Just because they've always been in my face, no means they need to be in my face anymore. I'm not confused. You are not a good person. These are things that we need to start saying to these individuals, and that is exactly what the block movement is all about. We are showing all of them that we don't accept your dystopian behavior. You don't get to do a Met Gala and then not at least acknowledge this is happening. Y'all want to dress in all these different wonderful clothes and act like nothing's going on, while people are suffering over there, getting blown up, children dying left and right. And it ain't enough that you do that, but what it is that you're doing, what it benefits is that fight. When you make all these billions and millions of dollars for these Zionists, they send it right over to the ADL. They send it right over to the American government. They send it right over to Israel to bomb these children. That's what your talent is for. It's disgusting. All of y'all need to go straight to hell. Stay there. And I'm talking to a lot of people that I grew up admiring because I grew up in a place where this was always okay. They've been doing this for 400 years. I'm only 39. This is what it's always been. A lot of the people we most appreciate are the very ones that think the worst of us. Think the worst of them. So no, I'm glad we're seeing all of this. I'm glad this is where I'm at in my lifetime. I'm glad I'm old enough and have lived through enough to not give two craps about who hears or what it thinks or what I have to say. I know what right and wrong is. I don't need them to teach me. They can't tell me this is wrong. They can't tell me who I am. They may be able to fool some. They ain't gonna fool this one. I ain't never harmed a child. I don't never want to harm a child. I don't want to be in a safe space where the only way it stays safe is if children are harmed. And I don't care how many people agree with that. You don't have to agree with that. Don't mean I'm not going to stand up for what I know is right. And as much trauma as I've seen those people inflicted upon with my own eyes, and this here phone, the same one I'm talking into, you damn right I'm going to speak on it. I'm going to speak on it. I'm going to block celebrities. I'm going to block you, them, everybody. I blocked my mama if I had to on Mother's Day. if we're going to save some of these kids. You feel me? And that's exactly what she raised me to be. Someone who's unapologetic in that. while so many are unapologetic in allowing people to become or remain free. I'm fortunate enough to have been told who the Black Panthers were, to have learned what Black Wall Street was, to have known and seen enough roots episodes to know what slavery could have possibly been to a small degree. I've heard of black skin shoes. You understand what I'm saying? I know the natives had things taken from them, everything taken from them. We even put germ warfare in blankets that they had handed to them by these same smiling ass faces. You trusted these people and they gave you hell. You fast forward today and they're still doing it to people all over the world right now. Same smiling energy. They could give two shits about living anywhere outside of their bubble. Who don't even respect struggle enough to want better for others. But they inflict struggle with their intentions and their dreams for others. The very thing all of our good books, Bible, Quran, taught us about the people amongst us. Sheeps. Wolves in sheep clothing with sheep mindsets. Understand that. Wolves in sheep's clothing with sheep mindsets, because they're always going to follow one another down a path of evil for others. Inflicting pain on people. Suffering on people. While they stand in their dystopian bubbles of comfort and sophistication that can only exist on the backs of those who are suffering. Enough of you. Enough of you. I'll block every last one of you and all of your supporters. I will not pay a dime into anything you got going on, just to make a point of nothing else. I will speak into this camera on your platforms against you, and it ain't really a whole lot you're going to be able to do about it. You're going to silence me? Too much has already been said. You want to erase me from the earth? I'll go to heaven. Just like you sent those babies there. There's nothing you can do to a believer who knows himself and knows his God. So while y'all pretending to believe in God, saying that the Lord gave you the right to destroy, all I know, all I'm certain of is he gave me the right to speak against you. You haven't been able to silence me yet. And everything I've been praying for the last 2 years has been manifesting just the same in regards to bringing a light to the evil that you've been doing. Speaking into the conversation about who you are and what you are actually about. Revealing to us what the true nature of what those smiling faces actually are. I've been praying for this. And so now that we're in this space, I say, God, we couldn't find a better way than to have people suffering so that we can understand this truth. Having babies dying left and right so that we can understand how evil the people are who control these processes. Apparently not. And it's frustrating, I must admit. But I'm not confused. It's all legit. Because at the end of the day, we now know who the Zionists is. We know who good people are. Good Jewish people who don't stand for this evil. But we also see who's hiding behind their curtain. Who's hiding in the midst of them like they say Hamas does in regards to Palestine. Keeping all of their people as human shields for the evil that they do. See, we're Jewish. No, you don't care about Jewish people. You are anti-Semitic because you're putting them in a position to look bad to the ignorant of us who don't know any better than to say all Jews are this, all Jews are that. Just like many say all blacks are this, all blacks are that. Well, what am I? If all blacks are bad people, all blacks are gangsters and pushers of drugs and all of that, and what am I? While I speak into this camera, speaking this way to you, what am I? As I pull your card about the evil that you do, what am I? I'll block 400 more tomorrow if I have an opportunity to. That's why I didn't leave the house. Because I was doing the Lord's work. Making sure these people don't benefit a lick from what it is that I do online. Celebrities I like, I've been paying attention to. You know, I had to block celebrities that my mom like. Shaka Khan got blocked yesterday because of her support for Israel. Why? Because she has a bunch of friends that she's known since 1955 who happen to be Zionists. And she gonna support them because that's what she knows to do. But she should know better because she was around when that occupation was really in its full form, when they were really doing the evil that they were doing. She was going to Israel. She knew what they were doing. That's the part that bothers me, is the old ones. Y'all knew what these people were doing. This occupation has been in place for 75 years. They stole these things from people. They stole land from people. They hurt people. And then when those people reacted, they hurt them some more. As if they had had something done to them because they were so entitled to what it is that wasn't theirs. And then they want to paint me out to be a thief? Why should I not believe thieving is something to do if that's what they do? I mean, they want us to not have our own brains. So it's like, you can be a thief and steal land, but I can't steal a piece of pizza? You see what I'm saying? Without getting a third strike or whatever the hell it would be. But you get to steal entire parts of the Middle East when your ass is from Europe. You're from Europe. You can't even live there without getting skin cancer, but I'm supposed to vilify my brother for stealing something that he needed because you systematically put him in a position to not have what he's supposed to have? And he don't know any better because you systematically kept him from the education as well? It made him hate himself with the propaganda that you placed upon his culture. I'm supposed to support you, right? Because you got a smiling face. Fuck out of here. I'll tell you right now, man, there's anger in my heart because I'm still seeing babies dying. See, this hasn't stopped. I saw more dead children this morning. After I blocked all those people yesterday, I'm still seeing them killing people this morning. It's Mother's Day, and they're killing children on Mother's Day. These smiling faces support this when they've seen everything I've seen, or maybe even more of it. But they're like, you know what? Because it's Israel, and it's going to disrupt the peace of my friends in Israel, I can't do nothing there. I'm not going to speak on this because I'm going to offend Joe Blow Schneitenhauer or whatever the hell his name would be. And he's a really nice guy who really has my entire fortune wrapped up in his interests. And it's futile in stopping him because he has a million other people systematically put in place that look just like him, that believe just like him, that control everything else, so he can run my life into the ground, or I can let him kill his enemies and I can have a peaceful life. And all of y'all are choosing that peaceful life while he kills his enemies. And do you know who his enemies are? Infants. That's the part that screws me up. Do you know how many of these people that they're killing are actually harmless? Literally all of them. If your kind friend had a real threat of an enemy, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If he was killing tyrants that had guns and lots of power and a lot of numbers, cool, fine. Hey, I ain't gonna get in the way of that. That's a legitimate threat. These people are terrified of babies. These people blow a whole house up, and the only bodies you find coming out of it are children. And they talking about Hamas. That's the part that I have a problem with in regards to all of y'all who are complicit with the shit. They're killing kids. They're not killing warriors. They're not killing Hamas. They're killing toddlers. On Mother's Day and on Christmas Day and all these other holidays and Ramadan. They're killing them then. They turn up the heat then. And you want me to sit back and support you just because you've been a nice face, giving me music and TV shows and making me laugh? When that's what you support? And even when you understand this, after this has been explained to you, you still have that in your head that this is what should be supported? Because maybe a couple of hostages may have been taken, even though the people who said those hostages were taken don't want those hostages back, and we all know that. But you want to keep the guys going because I'm Israeli. You're an asshole. You deserve to die. In place of the children that have died at the behest of your bullshit. And that's exactly what I think of Michael Rappaport and Jerry Seinfeld and all these assholes. They deserve to die in place of the children that they've allowed to die at the behest of their bullshit. And that may seem extreme to you. But if you find Joe Blow down the street, especially if he's black, and he kills 40,000 children, he ain't gonna make it down the street any further. You're gonna kill him right then and there. So why am I a bad guy? Why am I a bad guy for saying child murderers deserve to die? And people who sympathize with terrorists deserve to die? Not the manufactured definition of what terrorist is, but the actual terrorists, the ones who are actually terrorizing children and supporting such. Enough. Being nice doesn't work with people who are nice with an intended purpose to torture others. They're gonna nice each other to death. Nice each other to death while the IDF on their behalf murder children. He's a nice guy. Sick of y'all nice guys, because it ain't backed by anything genuine that ultimately helps the earth. You care about who you care about and don't give a shit about nobody else. But it ain't enough to be indifferent. You have to be intentional on hurting others. And I'm not supposed to say anything. I'm supposed to vilify the people who are on the side of this that are righteous, who don't want to see babies die. I'm supposed to vilify them, right? Because you're a nice guy. The hell out of here. You ain't nothing nice. And if we rip away the propaganda that's put in place on all of our minds to look at you like you're nice, we will realize that you're the very thing that have plagued the earth the entire time it's been spinning. Ever since you crawled your asses out of those mountains, you've been trying to take from others what was already established. You have taken culture, you have taken land. You have pillaged the earth. Human cancer. Disease. That's why it's fitting that you are disease, the Zionist, because you are a disease that plagues humanity and the earth itself with your intentions. Evil, self-serving, disgusting intentions. That's exactly what I think of Zionists. That's what I think about the Zionist movement. That's what I think about white supremacy. So I think about people who support white supremacy with not so white skin. All of y'all together are the worst thing that ever happened to this planet. All of those who are nice and remain silent, who don't want to disrupt what's going on here, who will not acknowledge that what's being done there is extremely disruptive to those people. If at best, and could give two shits because you don't have to ever be there. Worst human beings possible for this planet. The world would be great if it all gave you cancer. It would be healthier if it would wipe away all of you. That's where my mind is on Mother's Day. Because I know of the suffering mothers are going through today in Palestine, in Congo, in Sudan, in all these different places that you have your money suffering the ills of your intentions. It's the only proper way of viewing it. It's with anger and pain. And I'm not letting you guys tell me that I'm a terrorist or I'm extreme for having a free thought that is backed by intentional prayer for the end to the suffering of what's going on over there. Happy Mother's Day.